because it's been a lot. We have a lot of offices here. I'm making a video today. Not feeling great. Feeling pretty under the weather, but it is what it is. Gotta show you guys our new embroidery setup. Man, how sick is that? But as you can see, it's our new warehouse, and yeah, we got quite a bit of stuff to fill up, quite a bit of space. Open this up a little bit. Right there. So yeah, we got a lot of stuff going on. We got to pack a bunch of orders for the Memorial Day sale. I got a bunch of custom stuff we got to get finished up. I got to burn some screens. There's a lot of things that we got to do. So I'm going to bring you along with me. It's just me today, which is fine. We're gonna make this work. Like I said, it's crappy weather. I feel like crap. And yeah, it's a lot of walking now. Until we get everything finished, built out, we have to walk everywhere. Get all these lights turned on. You can see this is our clean room. This is where our new equipment will be going, parts of it. But man, it's nice. It's nice to have a nice clean spot. Right now, we got our little press. Actually, go ahead and take this back. I gotta clean this screen today. So first, we're gonna go ahead and coat some screens and put them in our makeshift darkroom. Eventually, you kind of see that we have it's a Saudi dual coater. Right here, we are gonna pretty much take all of this right here and turn it into a very large dark room. But right now our dark room is a hallway, so you're just making that work. Not only do we have that, we have our new the new Saudi laser right here. I'm super excited to get that going. It's gonna make things a lot easier and a lot quicker. We just got our new washout booth delivered. Old washout booth, new washout booth. Now we just have to get a lot more business, a lot more sales. So speaking of that, go to coastlineapparel.com and buy a bunch of stuff, because we need some sales so we can continue to grow. Man, what kind of dark room you guys have? Like, how are y'all using a cabinet? We used a trash bag one time. We would emboss everything and just use a trash bag. It worked out okay. It wasn't great. I'll show you our dark room real quick. So, I'm gonna turn all these lights on. Another hallway. Go figure. So, my dark room is right here. It's got a little safe light here. And it actually works out okay. But so as you can see, the ones that are drying we put into the drying rack. Then we stacked up the other ones based off of the mesh count. So I'm going to coat a couple of them. I'm going to go bring the rest of them here, and we're going to coat the rest of our screens. This is our dark room. I'm in North Carolina. There's not very often we have to worry about too much about humidity, but you know, as of right now, everything's running fine. I've seen a lot of videos when I first started on how to coat screens, and it was a absolute mess trying to figure out how to coat screens properly. And everybody has their own technique. I know I have mine. It may be different from, you know, person A and person B and person C. But then at the end of the day, as long as you get a clear stencil and it prints on the shirt good, that's what matters the most. So don't ever stress it if you're trying to learn how to do some emulsion or trying to emulsify a screen and figure it out. So if you're new to it, don't stress it. I use base layer. I got it from screenprinting.com. No, I'm not sponsored by them, but this is what I use. It's a very easy, friendly emulsion. It's just the diazo style. It is long lasting. This one will probably, I've had it for, I think I opened it like 3 weeks ago. So it'll probably be out before it even, or will run out before it even goes bad. But I like to shake it up a little bit. I have a stir stick that I end up stirring. I like to shake it and shake it and shake it. You definitely got to mix it up. Hang tight. One thing I forgot. Alright, I'm back. So, like I said, I like this, the base layer, long lasting emulsion from screenprinting.com. It's easy to use. It's not as sensitive as some other emulsions are, especially if you don't have the best, the best darkroom around. But for what I have, it works great. But when I'm mixing emulsion, when I'm putting the emulsion on the screens, obviously I like to have gloves on because it's just less of a mess. Sometimes it can be messy. When I was first learning how to put emulsion on screens, it was very, very messy. I made a lot of mess. So, get my spatula. I like to mix it up really good from the bottom. Just keep turning. You ain't got to mix it up a lot, but it definitely helps. And then, once I give a little dab off, get you your coater. So what a lot of people don't understand is the coater, even though it doesn't look like it, has two different edges. You got your round edge and you got more of a sharp edge. I coat on the round edge. It's a lot easier. It's a lot smoother. Make sure there's no dings and nicks in it. So you don't want it, for one, you don't want it ripping the screen. You don't want to create gaps into the screen whenever you're putting emulsion. So if you have to, you can get like a little sandpaper and just file it down. But make sure every time you use this thing, you clean it up immediately. You don't let it sit, you don't let it dry, keep it really clean. If you keep all your stuff clean, you won't ever have problems with it. Or at least it'll last a lot longer before you do have problems with it. Why am I blurry? Alright, there we go. So, I coat on the ground. I have cardboard laying down so I don't put everything on. But, yeah, so pretty much, and I'll try to get the camera down to it. Until we get our coater, unicoater, our dual coater going, I coat from the bottom up. And some people, they do two different coats, like on the shirt side or whatever. I've never needed to. Every now and then I'll get a pinhole, but I've noticed that like I've worked both. I've done both. I've coated both sides twice. I've coated both sides once. I've coated one side twice and the other side once. I've done different variations, and whenever I'm burning the screens, it still burns for about a minute, cleans out really good. I think only maybe once or twice where I've had a stencil actually wash out. That's because I was using a high pressure pressure washer, and it was my fault. It wasn't really the coating side. So I'm going to put the emulsion into the scoop coater. Right now I have 2, 4, 6, I got 7 screens to coat. I can usually get enough in one. When I first started, whenever I was filling it up too high, I noticed that I wasn't getting a good smooth glossy finish across the screen like you want. If it's rippled or anything like that, it's not a very good coat. You want a good smooth glossy finish, kind of like it's ice. So that is the first thing you want to do. Put the emulsion in the coater. You don't got to fill it all the way up. Make sure you keep clean hands. Make sure you're using the bottom. And let me see if I can. Oh, so one thing is, sorry, my area is just, one thing that I see a lot of people do, like they'll put a waist high and coat. I tried that. Every time I try that, I get uneven. I cannot coat with two hands. I honestly don't know how people coat with two hands. I coat with one hand, and I actually like to take, and I'll show you, I like to take the screen and kind of put everything in a lean the coater, and I like to kind of push everything up at one point and then saw it off. Like I mentioned before, round edge. Can't really see it from here, but again, as I'm doing it, I'm putting this at the bottom. I wait for the emulsion to get evenly on the screen, and then I apply pressure, pull up as you're tilting it, and then I tilt the screen. And then just kind of saw it off back and forth. There you go. And then I go to the other side. And I do the same thing. By doing the one-handed technique, I'm able to apply more even pressure. Then, look at that. That's what you want right there. And you can literally see my reflection in it, and that's perfect. Then, when I store it, you store it face down. Always store it shirt down. Shirt side down. Never shirt side up. We have all these other screens. Got a bunch of 200s. So we're going to be getting a lot more screens when we get that darker. We only have room for so much right now, so we don't have a lot of room for a bunch of screens. Another thing I like to do is make sure when you're storing your screens, store them, as you can see the number right here. Store them with a number out so you can see exactly what screen you have next. So again, little saw at the top. Add a little bit more emulsion to the coater. And again, we have a nice glisten. It's exactly what you want. We store it shirt down. Move on to the next one. So, and a lot of people you'll see, they'll say, oh, you got to coat it this way, then you got to flip it and coat it the other way. I've done that before, at least with my emulsion and everything else, all the tools I have, it never made a difference. I've never seen a difference made. So, if there is a difference, or if you say, hey, this is the reason why you need to flip it, put it in the comment section. Let me know, because, I mean, I'm not against learning something new, but if I can get from point A to point B the exact same way without wasting any time, and I'm going to kind of keep doing what I'm doing. It works. If it's not broke, don't fix it. Alright, I'm going to coat the rest of these. It doesn't take long to coat the screens. And the biggest thing is making sure you put a lot of even pressure. It's just a rinse and repeat method. Once you figure out what works for you, the emulsion you like, this, that, and the other, then stick with it. Now, I'm sure I'll change emulsion one day, probably fairly soon, when we get a better darkroom set up. But until then, I don't need to.
I'll put the 110. We don't use 110 a lot, so I'm gonna put the 110 at the very top. Got 110 and all our 156s because I had a 6-color job earlier that I did yesterday. Then, when you're done, put the emulsion back in the screen, okay? Or not back in the screen, but back in the bucket. So I like to sit there and I use the coater. Try to get as much of it out as you can. Alright. Then scrape the coater off. Close the emulsion back up. Make sure it's tight. You don't want a bunch of air getting into it. And that's it. So now I'm going to go and I'm going to wash out the scoop coater. I'm going to wash out my mixing spatula thing. Clean it up. I'll leave them in the sink so they can dry until next time. I don't ever bring them back in here. But yeah, just make sure you clean them up really good. Don't leave dry emulsion on it. Make sure the edges, especially the edges, are clean. The round edge of the coater, you want to make sure to scrub that thing extra hard. If you need to get a Brillo pad can work. Again, screenprinting.com has these little like red squares. I'll put the description below. It's like a nice little, like kind of like not really it's like a sponge, but it's more of a dense sponge. But man, I am out of focus. There we go. So, yeah, as you guys know, I don't make a ton of videos. But yeah, making this video, yeah, if you have a different way that you coat, or if you say, hey, maybe you should try doing this, let me know. Put in a comment below. I'll try it. I mean, like I said, I'm stuck in my ways, but I'm not at the same time. Like, I always want to find a better way to do things. So if you think you have a better way to do things, then let me know. And I'm always here to learn. But at the same time, if it's not broke, I'm not going to fix it. So yeah, see you in the next video. That's it, guys. Always clean your mess up. Don't leave a mess behind. Makes it a lot harder later on. Plus, it don't take long. So, yeah.